After seeing how ATPs are produced through the oxidative phosphorylation, that is through electron transport chain, we will see how exactly these reducing equivalents are produced. That is how the reducing equivalents NADH and FADH2 are produced. And I told you that oxidation of carbohydrates, proteins and fats, amino acids and fats, they give carbon dioxide and water. Water we have seen through electron transport. Let us see how carbon dioxide is released or produced. So we are starting with the metabolism or oxidation of glucose. So glucose is oxidized in all the cells by a process known as glycolysis. Glyco means glucose, though it is a carbohydrate, but specifically it is glucose. Glyco, this glycolysis. Lysis means breakdown, breakdown of glucose. This is a breakdown of glucose. So what is glycolysis? Glycolysis is the main pathway for oxidation of monosaccharides. So we are saying monosaccharides. Not only glucose, even fructose, other sugars also will be oxidized. Specifically glucose in almost every human cell. Not almost, every human cell. You can say every human cell. Okay. So glycolysis is the main pathway for oxidation of glucose in all human cells. Then glucose is broken down to provide energy in the form of ATP. Okay. Either ATP will be formed directly during the glycolysis, or it will produce NADH, the reducing equivalent, which will go to electron transport chain and form ATP. Then the enzymes of glycolysis are in the cytosol. So glycolysis will take place in which part of the cell? It is the cytosol. So glucose enters the cell with the help of glucose transporters. Now glucose is coming in the blood, and from the blood it has to enter the cell. How it enters? It will enter through special proteins present on the cell membrane known as glucose transporters. There are 14 glucose transporters. Glucose transporters, GLU, GLU, T for transporters, GLU for glucose transporters. There are 14. Okay. So in different types of cell, different number of glucose transporters are present. And for the glucose transporters to work, insulin will be required. Insulin is required for transport of glucose into the cell. What is insulin? It is a hormone. It lowers the blood sugar. We say how it lowers? By facilitating or allowing glucose to enter into the cell. So in this, only one probable question is there: where does glycolysis take place in the cell? Options: A, mitochondria; B, cytosol; C, ribosomes; D, endoplasmic reticulum, something like that. So it will be cytosol. Okay. Now we will see the main glycolysis. There are two types of glycolysis. Be careful. Two types. What are these two types? One is known as aerobic. Aerobic means in air, in the presence of oxygen. It requires oxygen. Aerobic. So end product of aerobic glycolysis is pyruvic acid or pyruvate. We'll see what is this aerobic, how the aerobic glycolysis takes place. But here the summary is given. What is that summary? The end product of aerobic glycolysis is pyruvic acid or pyruvate. So this is a most probable question. Definitely this will be asked in the quiz and also in the final exam. Either this one or the next one. Anaerobic. Anaerobic means no air. Not in air, in absence of air. Oxygen is not required. That is, for this type of glycolysis, no oxygen is required. And product of anaerobic glycolysis is lactic acid. So as I told you, any one of these two questions will definitely come either in the quiz or final exam. What is the end product of anaerobic glycolysis? Answer is lactic acid. What is the end product of aerobic glycolysis? Answer is pyruvic acid or pyruvate. Okay, so two types, aerobic glycolysis and anaerobic glycolysis. These are the two types of glycolysis. So where does aerobic glycolysis take place and where does anaerobic glycolysis take place? See, actually wherever mitochondria is there and there is good supply of oxygen, the respired oxygen, that is the oxygen that we take in all those cells aerobic glycolysis will take place. First condition is mitochondria should be present. Second condition is there should be good supply of oxygen. Okay, so aerobic glycolysis will take place. And where anaerobic glycolysis take place? Wherever there is no mitochondria. See here, cells without mitochondria like RBC perform only anaerobic glycolysis to produce ATP. Only anaerobic. There cannot be aerobic because there is no mitochondria, no electron transport. The reducing equivalents formed NADH cannot be oxidized because there is no mitochondria, no electron transport chain in this. Okay, so even anaerobic glycolysis will take place if supply of oxygen is not sufficient. For example, if you start running or doing some jogging or some go to gym, suddenly you will start working hard. The muscles will not get sufficient oxygen to carry aerobic glycolysis. So in that condition, anaerobic glycolysis will take place. Okay, we'll proceed further. Now we'll see the reactions of glycolysis. Okay, that means what are the enzymes required, what are the coenzymes required, where ATP is formed, where the reducing equivalent NADH or FADH2 is formed, and what will happen to that NADH or FADH. Okay, right. So we are taking this reaction. See, this is the reaction, first reaction. What is the enzyme? This will be the enzyme. And what is the coenzyme required? So what is the main purpose of glycolysis? The main purpose of glycolysis is to break down glucose and release energy. Okay, to produce energy. So what you see, the first reaction, glucose is converted to glucose 6 phosphate, and the enzyme is glucokinase, or in some tissues it is hexokinase. In most of the tissues it is glucokinase, and in some like liver it is hexokinase enzyme. Okay, these are two different enzymes. We call them isomers having same function. Okay, anyway, so coenzyme is ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP. That means some energy is used here. We started with saying that glycolysis is breakdown of glucose to produce energy, but you are seeing here that energy is used. So to give an example, if you want to set up some business, first you have to invest money. You have to put in some money, some energy there. Then you will get back some profit, some money. So likewise here also, for glycolysis, first there is a use of energy. There is a utilization of energy. Afterwards, there will be release of energy more than this. That is, profit will be there. Here only one ATP is used. Later on, more ATPs will be produced. However, we will see it one by one in the reactions. So this is the second reaction. So if you see here, the product of the first reaction will become the substrate of the second reaction. Okay, so glucose 6 phosphate was in the product of first reaction. Here the substrate of the second reaction is glucose 6 phosphate. It is converted to fructose 6 phosphate. Enzyme is isomerase, no coenzyme. Then this product of second reaction becomes the substrate of third reaction. Phosphate, fructose 6 phosphate is converted to fructose 1,6 diphosphate. The enzyme is phosphofructokinase, PFK. And again here also energy is used, utilized. So 2 ATPs are utilized. Still it is putting in some energy, some funding. And the enzyme is phosphofructokinase. This enzyme is very important. We call it as the key regulatory enzyme of glycolysis. If you have some notes, note down. Anyway, this question will not be asked to you. What is the key regulatory enzyme? Just for your information, note it down. Phosphofructokinase is known as the key regulatory enzyme of glycolysis. There are some other enzymes also regulatory. Next reaction. Fructose 1,6-diphosphate is converted to dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. If you remember, the glucose, how many carbons it has? It has 6 carbons. So up till now 6, 6, 6, 6 was given here. Now from 6, number has changed to 3, you see. That means the 6 carbon compound has broken down into 2 3 carbon compounds. This is a 3 carbon compound. This is also 3 carbon compound. Enzyme is aldolase. No coenzyme is required here. So we are getting 2 molecules of 3 carbon each. In the next reaction, this dihydroxyacetone phosphate, see here, dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. That means there are 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate coming from one glucose. Okay, so we finally get 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the enzyme isomerase, no coenzyme. Next reaction, so 2 is written here, so 2 into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, same one, is converted to 1,3-diphosphoglycerate. Enzyme is dehydrogenase. And you see here NAD, the active coenzyme form of niacin, is converted to NADH, the reducing equivalent. It contains electrons and hydrogens. When one NADH is oxidized through electron transport, it forms 3 ATP. But we are getting 2 NAD, that means 6 ATPs are formed here. 2 are utilized, 6 are formed. Very good gain. Okay. Then this product has become substrate here, 1,3-diphosphoglycerate is converted to 3-phosphoglycerate. Enzyme is kinase. And here you see one more ATP is formed. 1 means 2, because these are 2 are coming. 2 glycerol 3-phosphate is giving 2 1,3-diphosphoglycerate, and 2 1,3-diphosphoglycerates are converted to 3-phosphoglycerates. That means we are getting 2 ATPs here. Reaction, because it is one reaction, we are showing 1 ATP. In the single reaction, single NADH is formed, we are showing. Okay. Then this product, 3-phosphoglycerate is substrate here. 3-phosphoglycerate is converted to 2-phosphoglycerate by the enzyme mutase. No coenzyme there. Then 2-phosphoglycerate is converted to phosphoenol pyruvate by the enzyme isomerase. There is no coenzyme here. And the final reaction of glycolysis is phosphoenol pyruvate is converted to pyruvate by the enzyme kinase. And again, there is formation of ATP from ADP, because 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphates, all these are 2 molecules. Again 2 ATPs. Okay, so 3 into 2 6, 7 8 9 10 ATPs are produced. How many used? Only 2. 10 minus 2, 8 ATPs are formed in glycolysis. Okay, so we are not seeing what is, whether it is aerobic or anaerobic, nothing, just glycolysis. That means all reactions end up in pyruvate. Then depending upon the type of cell, whether it is having mitochondria, and if mitochondria is there, sufficient oxygen is there, then we will see what will happen to pyruvate. If no mitochondria and if no sufficient oxygen, then what will happen? If mitochondria is there, see here, fate of pyruvic acid, that is pyruvate. Okay. In aerobic condition, that is absence of in anaerobic condition, when there is no oxygen, when there is no mitochondria, no oxygen, supply of oxygen is less, pyruvate is converted to lactate. We say lactate, but in different animals, in different bacteria, the product formed is different. Don't conform to lactate, but in human cells, because it is lactic acid, we say lactate. Okay. So lactate dehydrogenase is the enzyme, and here what is happening, because there is no electron transport chain, the NADH reducing equivalent produced in glycolysis is converted to NAD. So that this NAD can be reused in the glycolysis, because there is no mitochondria, no electron transport. NADH cannot be oxidized there, so it has to be oxidized in this step. It is the recycling of NAD. So anaerobic reaction, conversion of pyruvate to lactate or to methane, or so many things are there, okay, or alcohol, so many things it forms, is just to recycle the NADH to NAD in absence of oxygen. Okay, in aerobic conditions what will happen? That is, if oxygen is present. So in aerobic conditions, pyruvate is converted to one compound known as acetyl-CoA, where mitochondria is there, and if mitochondria is there, electron transport is operating normally, oxygen supply is sufficient. So in that conditions, one enzyme known as pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, this is a complex of 3 enzymes. So this complex works together to convert pyruvate to acetyl-CoA, and it requires 5 coenzymes: FAD, coenzyme A, TPP, lipoic acid, and NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. This is converted to NADH. Okay, one more NADH is formed here. This goes to electron transport and forms 3 ATPs. Okay, so if you see from glycolysis, 2 pyruvic acids are coming, 2 acetyl-CoA will be formed. Okay, and likewise 2 pyruvic acids are coming from glycolysis, 2 lactic acids will be formed here. Okay, this is the fate of pyruvic acid. That means what will happen to pyruvic acid if oxygen is there and if oxygen is not there. Okay, okay, now we'll see how many ATPs are produced in aerobic glycolysis and how many ATPs are produced in anaerobic glycolysis. Okay, anyway, I have already told you and calculated how many ATPs are produced in the reactions of glycolysis. Here we will summarize now. So the summary is 8 ATPs are produced in aerobic glycolysis. That is, when air is present, when oxygen is present, 8 ATPs are produced. How? Already I calculated. I'll again repeated. NADH is produced. Okay, how many? 2 NADH. Why? Because from one glucose, that is 6 carbon, there is formation of 3 carbon glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. 2 molecules are formed. So 2 molecules will always give 2 molecules of NADH. So if 2 NADH are oxidized through electron transport, each will give 3, 2 NADH, 6 ATPs. Right. Then in the latest steps we are getting ATP formation at 2 steps. Okay. So at each step 2 ATPs will be formed, because 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate are taking reactions till pyruvic acid. So each step we get 2 ATPs. So 2 ATPs at one reaction, another 2 ATPs at another reaction. Totally 4 ATPs here, and NADH is giving 6 ATPs. 6 and 4, 10 ATPs. And how many were utilized? 2 were utilized. So 10 minus 2 is 8 ATPs. So in aerobic glycolysis we get 8 ATPs. Okay. Now anaerobic, that is where there is no mitochondria or oxygen is absent. In many bacteria, the cells are anaerobic. Okay. In microorganisms, the anaerobic glycolysis will take place. In our body, RBC will form anaerobic glycolysis. The active muscles will undergo anaerobic glycolysis. So in these conditions, only 2 ATPs are formed. Net gain is 2. How? NADH formed is reoxidized by lactate dehydrogenase for conversion of pyruvate to lactate. So no ATPs from NADH. Okay, no 3 ATPs there. So only 4 ATPs are formed in the steps, and 2 ATPs are utilized. 4 minus 2 is equals to 2 ATPs. So net gain is 2 ATPs, right? So the questions will be very simple in this glycolysis. What is glycolysis? It is breakdown of glucose to form or to release energy. Where it takes place? It takes place in the cytosol. Okay. What is the end product of aerobic glycolysis? It is pyruvic acid. In anaerobic, that is absence of oxygen, the end product is lactate. And how many ATPs are formed in aerobic? 8 ATPs. And in anaerobic, 2 ATPs. That's all. That is the only questions that will come in this glycolysis.